Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's been a long time since I made an audio like this on SoundCloud, and it's been a long time as well since I've engaged with some of the polemical works of our brothers at the S pubs. Of course, some of them have been notorious. Some of the polemical back and forth between me and some of the S pubs have been notoriously heated and unfortunately also sometimes toxic as well. But I appreciate the fact that Bilal Davis has not really fallen into the same kind of traps, I would say, that Abu Ayyad has fallen into, and has had a sober approach, frankly, to his refutational, to his refutations and his calm and collected style. So I appreciate that. So one of the main refutations, I've heard some of the stuff that he's said, and some of the main things that he said relate to my conversations with Julie in the park. And this is something I've already retracted about a year ago, namely the fact that I refer to the Quran as eternal. Now, this is problematic if you refer to the Quran as eternal, and there was a time where Allah said Iqra, because that would contradict the fact that it's eternal. So clearly here, there's a logical problem, and it's also a theological problem. It's not the view of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. So I retracted that then about a year ago, and I want to renew that retraction just in case you haven't come across it. I appreciate you might not have been able to come across it, but I renew that retraction. Likewise, when I said the only difference between your God and my God is size, this is problematic, and also it's a crude articulation and was retracted then. Once again, I renew the retraction once again. Now, the same applies with so these are the main things that I said, that Al-Lawh al-Mahfuz was created, was eternal, and in fact it was not eternal. Of course, it's been that's a quote that I don't know what I was thinking when I said, but I retracted those three things, and I think it's very important that you know that my position has changed on these matters, and actually had retracted, made those clarifications a very long time ago. So I appreciate the guidance in that, and that you've tried to uncover more of the truth and so on, and try and refine what I've said and so on, and I really am appreciative of it, even though it was retractions already made. What I would suggest and encourage, though, is in terms of analyzing my works, I've done 7 major debates, public formal debates, and I've got 3 books. That would be the place to start in terms of if you want to refute me, it's best to refute something formal, because doing a sharh, effectively doing a polemical sharh of or an explanation of my informal Speaker's Corner videos, this one I don't even think it went on my channel. I don't think it's a good place to start, because it seems like, okay, someone can go and make mistakes. But so it's still, nevertheless, I appreciate the fact that a mistake is a mistake wherever it's made. But if you're serious about me actually refuting my main points in academic works, then you have to start with my academic works. You don't start with Speaker's Corner videos. It shouldn't work like that. Anyway, I wanted to start with your main contention, which seems to be a problem with rationalizing Islam or intellectualizing Islam, positing philosophical arguments and so on. But before I begin, I wanted to recite something from the Quran to set the scene for what's going to come, inshallah, in what follows. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وهو الذي خلق السماوات والأرض بالحق ويوم يقول كن فيكون قوله الحق وله الملك يوم ينفخ في الصور عالم الغيب والشهادة وهو الحكيم الخبير وإذ قال إبراهيم لأبيه آزر أتتخذ أصناما آلهة إني أراك وقومك في ضلال مبين وكذلك نري إبراهيم ملكوت السماوات والأرض وليكون من الموقنين فلما جن عليه الليل رأى كوكبا قال هذا ربي فلما أفل قال لا أحب الآفلين فلما رأى القمر بازغا قال هذا ربي فلما أفل قال لئن لم يهدني ربي لأكونن من القوم الضالين فلما رأى الشمس بازغة قال هذا ربي هذا أكبر فلما أفلت قال يا قوم إني بريء مما تشركون إني وجهت وجهي للذي فطر السماوات والأرض حنيفا وما أنا من المشركين وحاجه قومه قال أتحاجوني في الله وقد هدان ولا أخاف ما تشركون بي إلا أن يشاء ربي شيئا وسع ربي كل شيء علما أفلا تذكرون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and mention, O Muhammad, when Abraham was sent to his father Azar, do you take idols as deities? Indeed, I see you and your people in manifest error. And thus we did show Abraham the realms of the heavens and the earth, that he would be among the certain in faith. So when the night covered him with darkness, he saw a star. He said, this is my Lord. But when it set, he said, I like not those who disappear. And when he saw the moon rising, he said, this is my Lord. But when it set, he said, unless my Lord guides me, I will surely be among the people gone astray. And when he saw the sun rising, he said, this is my Lord, this is greater. But when it set, he said, O my people, indeed I am free from that which you associate with Allah. Indeed, I have turned my face towards He who created the heavens and the earth, inclining towards truth, and I am not of those who associate others with Allah. And his people argued with him. He said, do you argue with me concerning Allah, while He has guided me? And I fear not what you associate with Him, and will not be harmed unless my Lord should will something. My Lord encompasses all things in knowledge. And you know, there's something else which 2 verses later, I wanted to actually read. Allah says, وَتِلْكَ حُجَّتُنَا آتَيْنَاهَا إِبْرَاهِيمَ عَلَىٰ قَوْمِهِ نَرْفَعُ دَرَجَاتٍ مَّن نَّشَاءُ إِنَّ رَبَّكَ حَكِيمٌ عَلِيمٌ. And that was our conclusive argument, which we gave Abraham against his people. We raise by degrees whom we will. Indeed, your Lord is wise and knowing. This is a clear passage which shows that the rational argument style is something which is not only prophetic, it's something which goes back to the patriarch himself, Ibrahim alayhi salam. Obviously, from our perspective, this language of patriarch might not be necessary or even sanctionable from the Islamic perspective. But the idea that Abraham argued with his people, and Allah even said that He raised him in ranks with the hujjah that He gave him, the argument He gave him. Now let's take a look at what kind of argument He gave him. Did He give him an argument, a propositional argument, or not even a descriptive statement to give His people? No, He didn't. He didn't say to Abraham, go and say to your people, worship Allah only, and say, ittaqullah wa ati'u, which obviously that happens as well. Yes, we know the prophets do that in the Quran. But He also argued with them on a rational basis. You see, because when He was talking about the celestial bodies and the Layl and the Nahar and the Shams and the Qamar, He was showing them that on your world view, if we take your worldview seriously, we're going to fall into fallacious reasoning. Basically, this is what He was showing them. That the argument was on a rational level. So it was a rational argument, and that's why He said, And when he saw the moon rising, he said, "This is my Lord." But when it said, he said, "Unless Allah guides me, I will surely be among the people who've gone astray." You know what I mean? فَلَمَّا رَأَى الشَّمْسَ بَازِغَةً قَالَ هَذَا رَبِّي. So he played the game. Argumentum ad absurdum. This is a rational argument that Abraham gave to his people. That was, Allah says, وَتِلْكَ حُجَّتُنَا آتَيْنَا إِبْرَاهِيمَ عَلَى قَوْمِهِ. So it's what Allah gave to his people. This is the hujjah. So the idea that philosophy, now the question is, contemporaneously, nowadays, what is the definition of philosophy? When we say philosophy, are we talking about this kalam al-madhmum, that the blameworthy kalam that what do you call it? The Salaf spoke about. Sorry, or are we talking about something ashmal min dhalik, much more wide than that? So, look, if we look at the Cambridge Dictionary, right? Philosophy is defined vernacularly, right, as the use of reason in understanding such things as the nature of the real world and existence, the use and limits of knowledge, and the principles of moral judgment. This is a standard definition, a vernacular definition of the word philosophy. The use of reason and understanding such things as the nature of the real world. Now tell me, if that's the case, what was Abraham doing? Surely he was using reason. In vernacular linguistic terms, therefore, maybe a secularist would say Abraham in this context was philosophizing. So you have to understand, when you use the word falsafa or philosophy, the meaning it carried back in the days of the Salaf is different to the meaning it carries now. The falasifa, when Abu Hamid al-Ghazali was talking about al-falasifa, he was talking about a line of philosophical reasoning, which emerged from, for example, Ibn Sina. So, and Farab al-Kindi and those individuals, they had a philosophical line of reasoning. It was a specific type of philosophy. So the philosophers were not just anyone who's using reason, because if you try and nullify the use of reason in the religion of Islam and the use of intellectual argumentation, then you're going to nullify what the prophets effectively did. You said, do what the prophets did. But what did the prophets do? The prophets, as we've just seen, they intellectually engaged with their people. They intellectually engaged with their people. And they did so on rational grounds. And they did so on their worldview. They looked at it on their perspective and showed them through argumentum ad absurdum that it doesn't work. What you're doing doesn't work. What you believe doesn't work. This is a kind of rationalization. Now, the thing is with SPUBs is, I'll be honest with you. You say you shouldn't study philosophy. You say you shouldn't study, a lot of you guys say you shouldn't study mantiq, logic. Fine. If you believe that you shouldn't study philosophy, so you've never studied philosophy then. Even though in your latest refutation of me, you had some very interesting philosophical insights, frankly. And you were Bilal Davis, who was talking about all kinds of Aristotelian things, which by the way requires refinement, because you haven't studied this formally, and I appreciate that you're trying your best, but you're still exposing a philosophical argument to your congregationists. Now, the point is that when you say don't study philosophy and then go ahead and try and make a philosophical argument of refutation against me, this is the ironic part of it all. Because what you're doing is effectively philosophizing. You're saying, oh, this and that, and you're using philosophy as well. What's the difference between what I'm doing and what you and Abu Ayyad did? Tell me, what's the difference? What you and Abu Ayyad did, you went into what Ibn Sina said, what Al-Kullabiyya said. This is clear and pure philosophy, my friend. With all due respect, this is clear and pure philosophy. There's nothing about it. Using this definition, this is an English language we're speaking. Okay, this is an English language. And by the way, the word falsafa, it's not even aslan min lugha arabiyya al-fusha. But now, having said that, the question is, you keep saying about philosophy, studying philosophy, and you're philosophizing because you don't know what philosophy is. Philosophy is, we've just defined it, so using reason. So, okay, Abraham used reason. Anyway, he has a problem with me using the contingency argument for God's existence. He says it's not conducive, or it's not Islamic, it's not what the prophets did. Whatever you said that is. It's not what the Prophet, it's not the way to do da'wah. So let's take a look at what Ibn Taymiyyah says in Sharh Aqid al-Isfahaniyya, page number 33. He says, Ibn Taymiyyah says, فنقول إنه يمكن تقريرها. He proceeds by talking about the contingency argument, and then he says, we can affirm it. بما نشاهد من حدوث الحوادث فإن نشاهد من حدوث الحوادث حدوث الحيوان والنبات والمعادن وهذه الحوادث ليست ممتنعة فإن الممتنعة لا يوجد ولا واجبة الوجود بنفسها. Okay, so he is saying here إنه يمكن تقريرها بما نشاهد, from what we empirically see, من حدوث الحوادث, from things which come into existence. فإننا نشاهد من حدوث الحوادث حدوث الحيوان, we see coming into existence, animals coming into existence, نبات, plantation coming into existence, and معادن coming into existence. He says وهذه الحوادث ليست ممتنعة, and these حوادث are not ممتنعة, which means that they are not impossible existences. Yeah, so he divides between possible, ممكن الوجود, ممتنع or ممنوع, yeah, and then you have wajib. This classification is that which Ibn Sina came with. He's not doing inkar of it. Ibn Sina came with it, and he's not doing inkar of it. He says فإن الممتنع, so that which is impossible, لا يوجد ولا واجبة الوجود بنفسها. He says it doesn't come into existence, and it's not something which is necessary in itself. فإن واجب الوجود بنفسه لا يقبل العدم. He says that واجب الوجود by itself cannot be in non-existence. وهذه كانت معدومة. هذه كانت معدومة ثم وجدت. فعدمها ينفي وجوبها. He says that something which wasn't existent came out of existence. The fact that something can come out of existence is indicative of the fact that it's not necessary. ووجودها ينفي امتناعها. The fact that something is in existence is indicative of the fact that it's not an impossible existence. وهذا دليل قاطع واضح بين. Subhanallah, come on. And this is a dalil, Ibn Taymiyyah saying this, which is قاطع, which is clear, and واضح. Sorry, it's
something to do here.
wait, I'm sorry, brother. Just I'm recording something, yeah? Can you let me record? Go. I'll see you later.
Can I go somewhere?
Listen, I'm gonna have to finish my record.
Wait a minute, I need to get something.
No, listen, I was in the flow. I was doing something very important right now, and you just cut me off. So give me 5 minutes, and I'll finish with this, and I'll come. Okay? I'll see you later.
What number do we have to count?
Count to 1,000. Count to 1,000,000. Count to 1,000,000,000. Okay?
That's not a number.
It is a number. You don't know about the numbers.
Billion?
A billion is a number. Yes.
It's from a million, billion.
Listen, please, listen. Can you go? Just go. I'll be back. I'll finish. Let me finish.
Can we go somewhere? Can we go to the...
Listen.
Go to the park?
I'm just in the middle of something. Maybe if you're good, if you be quiet, if you be quiet.
No, look, there's an ice cream van here.
Okay, ice cream van. Go to the ice cream van. I mean, go, please.
There's an ice cream van with my t-shirt.
Okay. Go. I'm not gonna record this again. I'm just gonna leave it in there because I already done the recitation of this. I'm not gonna record this again. بسم الله. وهذه الحوادث ليست ممتنعة فإن الممتنع لا يوجد ولا واجبة الوجود بنفسها. فإن واجب الوجود بنفسه لا يقبل العدم وهذه كانت معدومة ثم وجدت فعدمها ينفي وجوبها ووجوبها ينفي امتناعها وهذا دليل قاطع واضح بين على ثبوت الممكنات لكن من سلك هذا الطريق لم يحتاج إلى أن يثبت إمكانها بحدوثها ثم يستدل بإمكانها على الواجب بل نفس حدوثها دليل على إثبات المحدث لها فإن العلم بأن المحدث لابد له من محدث بأن المحدث لابد له من محدث أبين من العلم بأن الممكن لابد له من واجب فتكون تلك الطريق أبين وأقصر وهذه أخفى وأطول حيث يستدل بالحدوث على الإمكان ثم بالإمكان على الواجب. Anyways, look, long story short, he's saying here Ibn Taymiyyah prefers to just say if you're making this argument, you don't need to go from wajib to mumkin and mumkin to wajib. So he's preferring that you go straight If something comes into existence, it must have had something that brought it into existence. He's saying the other way of saying, oh, something is dependent upon something, X, Y, Z. He said that's atwal, that's longer. He said that's a longer way. It's a long-winded process. But no, Ibn Taymiyyah is not saying I have a problem with this theologically. Ibn Taymiyyah is not saying this is a wrong argument. You see what I mean? So this is what you need to understand, Bilal Davis, with all due respect, that your contentions with actually using the argument in the first place is something which is not substantiated. لا بالنص ولا بكلام العلماء. Not with the nas of the Quran. لا ولا بكلام العلماء. And neither with the kalam of the ulama. And even you'll find here at one point he actually يستدل بالقرآن. يعني Ibn Taymiyyah here says وأما المقدمة الثانية, this is in page number 34, he goes وأما المقدمة الثانية وهي أن الممكن لابد له من واجب فقد نبه على هذه المقدمة بقوله لاستحالة وجودها بنفسها فإن الممكن هو الذي يقبل الوجود والعدم كما نشاهد من المحدثات وما كان قابلا للوجود والعدم لم يكن وجوده بنفسه كما قال تعالى سبحان الله. Look at this. أم خلقوا من غير شيء هم الخالقون. he says أحدثوا من غير شيء من غير محدث أم هم أحدثوا أنفسهم. ومعلوم أن الشيء he says لا يوجد نفسه فالممكن الذي ليس له من نفسه وجود ولا عدم لا يكون موجودا بنفسه بل إن حصل ما يوجده وإلا كان معدوما وما كان وكلما أمكن وجوده بدل من عدمه وعدمه بدل من وجوده فليس له من نفسه وجود ولا عدم وهذا بين. Look, I'm not going to translate all of it, but the point is, he's saying it's clear. This is he's with Quran. He's not saying this is haram to make this argument. Where'd you get this from? With all due respect, he had issues with tarkib. Yes, I agree. He had issues with tarkib, and I've already explained with sorry, the kids are coming back, but I've already explained, you know, to Abu Ayyab I've already explained to Abu Ayyad that, you see, what did I say? Yes, I already explained to Abu Ayyad that tarkib, yeah, the issue of tarkib. So what do we mean by parts? Parts, we say, parts is something which is susceptible to dissembly. When we say Allah is la yajtazi', he's not composed of parts. We mean that he's not, he does not break it into parts. And we don't mean by a part a sifa. A sifa is not a part. You see the point? The sifa is an attribute. A part is different. You understand the difference here? So, for example, in page 40, he says الوجه السابع أن يقال المعنى المعروف من لفظ التركيب أن يكون الجزءان مفتقرتين فركبهما جميع مركب لأن المركب مركب اسم مفعول ركبه مركب فهو مركب كما يركب الطبيخ. Basically, he's saying that if it's ism maf'ul, if it's susceptible to being dissembled and assembled, then obviously Allah cannot be broken into parts. The issue is you think, and this is probably because lack of training, of all due respect, lack of training in philosophy, and no problem. If you don't want to train it, you don't believe it's halal, khalas, you don't believe logic is halal, maybe. I don't know, because some scholars say logic you should not study. Fine, no problem. If you believe that you shouldn't study logic, you don't study logic, you don't study philosophy, no problem. But let me explain. You can mitigate the point, because your issue is, okay, what about nephew of the sifat? You're going to do nephew of the sifat if you say that, or you can't do, if you do hujjiyah tarkib, and you say, the composition, everything that is made out of parts is generated. But the problem here is, brother Bilal, you have to understand, my brother. Yeah, listen carefully, please. Yeah, you don't need to worry about that, because actually there's a difference between an attribute and a juz. If I say this X person is tall, it doesn't mean that that's part of what he is. You know, if I say he's a black man, it doesn't mean that's a part of what that's a part of. It's not something you can. It's not separable in that sense. An attribute is not the same as a part. A part, when we say part, is something which is subject to dissembly, something which can be broken up into pieces. Do you get the point? So if something can be broken up into pieces, then that's a part. Now, you and I agree that Allah cannot be broken up into pieces. So from this angle, which Ibn Taymiyyah talks about, Allah is not murakkab. Allah is not murakkab. How could he be murakkab of different attributes? You know what I mean? He's not murakkab of different attributes, Bilal. So you understand, he's not murakkab in that way. These attributes are talazumi, are lazim attributes. They are necessary to him. So it's not like that. It's not. We don't worry. Don't worry. It's not. We're not going to fall into what do you call it? Jahmi rhetoric. I get your concern, but I think it can be mitigated with a clear and concise definition of what is a juz. We say a juz is something which can be broken up. So, for example, breaking up arms and legs and so on. Allah, you can't break them up. You see the idea? So you don't have to worry that this argument will lead to nephi of the sifat. It will only lead to nephi of the sifat if when you're doing dalil al-tarkib, you define it in a vague way such that someone can confuse the attributes with the ajza. This is a problem, and I agree with that. Of course, if I fall into that, then that's a problem, but I haven't. I always define a part as something which is susceptible to dissembly, something which can be broken up into pieces. Because everything that can be broken up into pieces, logically speaking, is dependent upon those pieces in order to constitute the whole. This is basic logic. Wallah is a basic logical proposition. And I know you might not have come across it, but it's something which you need to realize. And also, number two is, it's not against the aqeedah of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. So you said you have to make your position clear about what you believe about the sifat of Allah. I believe what you believe. I believe that I do ithbat of the sifat. I do wala takeef, wala ta'til, wala ila akhirih. All of the things that you say, what's the issue? The rahmah of Allah. I affirm the rahmah of Allah. And by the way, it's true what you said. And I agree with the fact that you can't come to a necessary agreement. You can't come to a position about necessary existence. Yeah. You can't come to a position about necessary existence about the whole of Allah's attributes through rational argumentation and logical argumentation. You need the Quran. But before you get to the Quran, what does arguing from this vantage point do for an atheist? What it does, it brings them out of atheism, because there's a difference between atheism and deism. So it brings them out of atheism and puts them into deism. So now that they're more open to the idea of something that created the universe, and is ultimately responsible for it, then you can start saying, okay, so what is the relationship? And you can start bringing in, questions of the Quran. And so if you couple those two arguments together, then you have a robust argument for God's existence, and then the Prophet of Muhammad, then you can have the rest of the attributes. You're not going to have the rest of the attributes. You're not going to logically deduce that Allah has rahmah. I've always made this so clear in my public debates. You can't deduce that Allah has mercy or that He's a personal God. I don't even agree with the Christian rhetoric that you can deduce that He's a personal God, logically speaking. I think that does require a scripture of some sorts. But I think that you can come to a conclusion of necessary existence logically. And when you do that, you're saying, okay, well, Ibn Taymiyyah says himself, Fir'aun and those people, they believe in necessary existence. Yeah, but nowadays we have people that don't believe in that. We live in an atheistic world now. But back in the days, the Quran says, وَلَئِن سَأَلْتُهُم مَّنْ خَلَقَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ لَيَقُولُونَ اللَّهُ. If you ask them who created the heavens and the earth, they'll say Allah. Now they won't say Allah. That was the pagan Arabs at the time. Now they will not say خَلَقَهُنَّ الْعَزِيزُ الْحَكِيمُ or خَلَقَهُنَّ Allah. They will not say Allah created it. So now we're living in a different age. We have to rationalize with the times. Just like in the milieu of Ibrahim alayhi salam, he had to rationalize with the people that believed in this kind of polytheism that he believed in. So, Bilal Davis, I see the hard work you put into doing the sharh of my works. Like I said to you before, I appreciate it. I agree with a lot of what you've said. Remember, you're flogging a dead horse in terms of those retractions. It's like you're saying, oh, you said this was wrong. I said, yeah, I agreed that 1 year ago, 365 days ago. I agreed with that. So your refutations are good. I hope you understand where I'm coming from now. And you said in your first podcast, you said you won't learn tafsir or aqidah from Mohammed, but you learn philosophy, social sciences, and so on and so forth. Yeah, absolutely. And then you said Immanuel Kant and John Cook. Not John Cook, it's John Locke. But it's not a problem. Who cares, You're not going to be asked about John Cook or John Locke on the Day of Judgment or on the grave, you see. But, khalas, so we can learn from each other then. I can teach you about John Cook and John Locke. I don't know who John Cook is, by the way. And you can teach me about some things here and there. You can show me some maqulas from the Salaf and so on and so forth. I'm sure you've done some extensive reading. I mean, it's been your life for such a long time. So I appreciate where you're coming from. And definitely I would say that you have a better style and a better command of the Arabic language and much stronger, mashallah, grasp of intellectual philosophical history which you've engaged with and you've taught to your congregationists. So it's not haram then in that case. And I'm happy you're walking in that forward direction. And also, so you can teach your students like Abu Khadija and those people who need the basics. But Jazakumullahu khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.